Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 AFL trade period full wrap club by club. I'll go through every club's ins and outs, and I'll grade them out of 10. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't already and smash the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. I want to aim for 20 likes for this video. So let's get right into it club by club, and as always, in alphabetical order. So let's start off with the Adelaide Crows. The Crows, they brought in Chris Burgess from the Gold Coast Suns and lost Tom Doedee and Shane McAdam. Their draft picks currently for this year's draft will be pick 10, 14, 20, and 89. The Crows held all their future selections and added a future second-round pick tied to Melbourne, which was part of the Shane McAdam deal. Now, I want to stress enough, these draft picks can be traded from every club up until the day before or the day of the draft. And then you have that small window for being closed, and then you can trade draft picks on draft night. As of right now, pick 10, 14, 20, and 89, and they add a future second for the following year. So for the Crows, their trade period, I'll give them a 5 out of 10, purely because losing Tom Doedee is a big out, but they gained a future second for Shane McAdam, which is probably not worth. So 5 out of 10, nothing special for the Crows, but nothing insanely bad as well. Now, the Brisbane Lions, that they secured the services of Tom Doedee and Brandon Ryan, and they lost Jack Gunston and Tom Fullerton. Their draft picks heading into this year's draft will be picks 30, 39, 51, 54, 67, and 97. They gave up a future second round as part of the Brandon Ryan deal, but got next year's fourth round selection tied to Hawthorn. The Brisbane Lions, I give their trade period a 6 out of 10. Acquisition of Tom Doedee is a very good in for them. The reason I haven't graded them any higher is purely because their first two draft picks, 30 and 39. You don't always need to have a strong hand this season, but I'll give the Brisbane Lions a 6 out of 10. Move on to the Carlton Football Club. They secured the services of Elijah Hollands from the Gold Coast Suns. They lost Zach Fisher and Paddy Dow. They head into this year's draft with picks 22, 28, 70, 78, and 96. They had future picks being traded as part of the Paddy Dow deal. A future third and fourth to part, coming back a 2 fourth rounders started the Bulldogs and Freo. They also got a future fourth with Elijah Hollands. Essendon's future third came into Carlton's hand through the Dow deal, but went to the Suns straight after. So for Carlton, I'm going to go off 4 out of 10. For the Carlton Footy Club. Didn't do much, but I mean, they didn't really have to. Nothing amazing. Collingwood Football Club, wow. They brought in Lockie Schultz, but lost Jack Ginnivan and Taylor Adams. They own the draft picks 19, 33, 80, and 98. They sent a future first to Freo as part of the Lockie Schultz deal, along with pick 34. They secured Hawthorn's future second and third round picks, but also sent a future second and fourth back to the Hawks through the Jack Ginnivan trade. So for me, Lockie Schultz is a great acquisition. They probably paid a bit more than they wanted to, but he was contracted, so you had to give up a bit more than you want. For Collingwood, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Lockie Schultz is a great in, who's essentially replaced Ginnivan in this squad. And Taylor Adams, they're probably a midfield short, but they reckon Finn McRae may be able to fill that void, but I'm not so sure yet. Just for the trade period alone, I'll give them a 6 out of 10. The Bombers, who were very good, they secured the services through free agents of Jade Gresham, Ben Mackay, and Todd Goldstein. And last minute, the X-Man from the Power, Xavier Dersma. They lost Massimo D'Ambrosio and Brandon Zerk-Thatcher. They head into this year's drafts of picks 9, 31, 35, 61, and 88. They gave up their future third and fourth part of the Dersma trade to Port. They brought in a future fourth from Carlton that they ended up sending to the Power, but they have another pick in the same round tied to Collingwood that they got from Hawthorn in the D'Ambrosio trade. So for the Bombers, I'm giving them a 10 out of 10. And here's why. 3 good free agents, especially Gresham and Mackay now. 2 great acquisitions, financially not for free, but from a trade point of view for free. Goldie for free as well. He's had some experience in the ruck depth, especially if Draper's down, he can be the number 1 ruck. And Xavier Dersma is better than Brandon Zerk-Thatcher. I don't know how many times I have to say this. That is a great acquisition for the Bombers. I like the move, and they still retain pick 9 and 31 and 35 as their top picks. So they get 3 gun free agents and a very good gun player in Xavier Dersma. And they lost 2 fringe players. So for me, they're a 10 out of 10. The Bombers absolutely nailed it. Will they be the only team getting a 10? You'll have to find out soon. The Dockers, they brought in no one. They lost Joel Hamling, Liam Henry, Lockie Schultz. They got picks 34, 46, 60, 64, and 85. They have secured a powerful hand next year, holding 3 first-round draft picks their own, and they secured Collingwood's and Puadela's through a trade. They secured a future second from the Saints and swapped future fourths, which secured with the Liam Henry trade. And they traded their own second round to the Power. Through a trade they did report where they gained that future first. So it's a hard one to grade for the Dockers because most of their pieces are into the future. But Liam Henry and Lockie Schultz were main players for them. So it kind of, and they don't want the draft picks for future years. So it's like, it's very hard to grade. So I'm going to give the Dockers a 5 out of 10. I was going to give them a bit lower, but a lot of their top end picks up for next year. So if it was this year, we'd be saying how good it was. So I'll give them a 5 out of 10 because it's really, really hard to grade. But St Kilda beat them in the Liam Henry trade. Future second, and they wanted to pick 12. It was never happening. Yeah, Geelong. They brought in no one and lost to Sarah Radigalia. They head into this year's draft with picks 8, 25, and 3 late picks, 76, 87, and 94. They kept all their future picks of their own next year. I'd say for them, it's a 5 out of 10 as well. Hard to grade because they did one trade. They probably won out of it, but their posturing and that did not work. So 5 out of 10 because I don't think Radigalia is worth pick 25. And that was the main pick they got involved in that deal. 5 out of 10 for me. For the Gold Coast Suns, they brought in no one. They lost Chris Burgess, Marby O'Chol, and Elijah Hollands. No huge losses. They go in the draft with this year's picks 24, 26, 27, 32, 36, 38, 66, 71, 74, and 84. Future picks they have loaded up again. Got the Bulldogs future first, as well as North Melbourne's end of first round, the compo pick, the assistance package pick. They also have Brisbane's second rounder, and they have Carlton's third rounder, but they parted ways with their own third and fourth round selections. For me, for Gold Coast, it's probably a 7 out of 10 because they secured more points and have enough points for Jed Walter, Ethan Reid, and Jake Rogers, and Will Graham if they select him later on in the draft. So secured enough points. 3 fringe players go out. Yes, they parted with top picks this year because the picks would be chewed up. So 7 out of 10 for me for the Gold Coast Suns. They could have given them a bit more, but I'll give them a 7. And let's move on to the Giants, who did basically nothing. They lost Matty Flynn and they gained no one. They go to this year's draft pick 7, 16, 43, 59, 77, 79, and 95. For me, GWS get a 5 because they did one free agency move and that was out of their control. So they got pick 39 as combo, which is now 43. So, yeah, not much to say. And there's no movement on their future picks as well. So they did just the Matt Flynn free agency move and that was in. And they didn't really have to be a part of that. So 5 out of 10 for that reason alone. The Hawks, well, they were very good. Jack Ginnivan comes in, Jack Gunston, Marby Oldchol, and Massimo D'Ambrosio. Lost Tyler Brockman, Jacob Ziski, and Brandon Ryan. They go in this year's draft picks 4, then 44, 47, 49, 61, 62, 63, and 83. All of them received future second and fourth round selections, both tied to the Pies, while parting with their own future second and third selections. The Hawks also received a future second from Brisbane, which was on trade to Gold Coast for the Marby Oldchol trade, while sending a future fourth to the Lions as part of the Gunston trade. And the club later then traded the future fourth from the Pies to the Bombers for Massimo D'Ambrosio. So they still gained pick 4, but they haven't got many other picks after that. But the players they brought in, Ginnivan, Chol, in particular Gunston, are all picks between 4 and 44. Like if you were to trade them on trade value. And D'Ambrosio was a free hit basically with the picks in the 60s. So Hawks for me is a 10 out of 10. They've upgraded there. Ginnivan, Gunston, Chol, are very good picks. And D'Ambrosio, as I said, basically for free. So yeah, they go. It's a 10 out of 10 for me for the Hawks as well. And they regain their future first along with their current first round pick 4. Could give them a 9, but I'm going to stick with a 10. The Demons, they brought in Jack Billings, Tom Fullerton, and Shane McAdam. Lost Brody Grundy, James Harms, and James Jordan. They own this year's draft pick 6, 11, 42, and 93. They picked up Sydney's future second, part of the Brody Grundy trade, however, parted with their future second in a trade to Shane McAdam to the Crows. They said next year's future third to the Saints for Jack Billings. They received a Dogs future third for James Harms. They will also compensate at the end of second round for James Jordan for next year. So for Melbourne, it's a hard one to grade for me with them. So I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10. I mean, some handy plays in, some bigger outs, headlined by Brodie Grundy. So I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10. Billings and McAdam can help in their forward line, which they're struggling with the most. And they got pick 6 and 11. So I could give them more of a better grade. They lost a lot of future picks. So I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10. Now, the North Melbourne Football Club. They brought in Dylan Stevens, Zach Vischer, and Biggie Newen. Lost Ben Mackay and Todd Goldstein as free agents. They go in this year's draft stockpiled with first round picks, pick 2, 3, 15, 17, 18, and 57 and 82. And their future picks are all good and they haven't been impacted. Also, it is what their ladder position will be at this stage for next season. So for the Roos, they're going to be involved a lot in training picks on draft night and before the draft, and they've admitted that with Brady Rawlings. I'm going to give the Roos a 6 out of 10, only because they've kept a strong draft and not so much for the players they brought in. Port Adelaide, oh boy. They brought in 4 players. Asava Radigalia, Ivan Soldo, Jordan Sweet, and Brandon Zerk-Thatcher, and lost the X-Man, Xavier Dersma. Their draft picks are just pick 73. Their future picks, as putters with their future first, Game Freo's future second. You got 2 future fourths for losing Dersma. And they parted with a future first for the Soldo one. So for me, it's a 2 out of 10 for the Power. I mean, they got the needs of the players they wanted, but these are 4 sample level players, if we've been brutally honest. Nothing against them individually, but that's just a fact of life. That's what it is. Yeah. Now, people will say, "Oh, come on, mate. They got their good recruits. They feel the need. Yeah, they do, but they're not good enough. You might as well keep Trent McKenzie and Aliir. And I know to free up Aliir by playing Radigalia or Zerk-Thatcher or both, but they're not great players. They're going to get goals kicked on them. So Aliir is still going to have a massive pressure in that back line for the Power. So I'm going to give them a 2 out of 10. Move on to Richmond, sorry. They brought in Jacob Gziski, lost Biggie Newen and Ivan Soldo, have picks 29, 41, 65, 68, and 86, and managed to hold on to their whole set of future selections, and they added a second rounder, which was tied to Freo and Port's future fourth for the Ivan Soldo trade. Didn't bring in much, didn't lose much. Their first pick is 29. They probably need to head to the draft. So for the Tigers, I'm going to give them a 4.5 out of 10. You probably won the Ivan Soldo trade because he was contracted, but they didn't lose much and they didn't gain much. It's 4.5 out of 10. My Sainers, they brought in Paddy Dow and Liam Henry, lost Jay Gresham, Jack Billings, and Nick Caulfield. They go in with this year's draft picks 13, 21, 40, and 92. They acquired 2 future thirds, one in that 4-club trade and the other in the Jack Billings trade, or sending Freo 2 picks for next year, one in the second round and 4th round. I would have been really happy with our trade period had they not salary dumped Jack Billings. I am livid with this selection, how they did this. Livid. How can you get rid of a player like Jack Billings for nothing and then pay his money on the way out in good faith? Nothing against JB. I like JB and always will. Always have and always will. It's not his fault. The club, he had 2 years to go. Normally when a player's in contract that's leaving, you've got the leverage. But somehow you made Melbourne have the leverage here. Ridiculous. I was going to give them probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. And then when they did this, I'm now going to drop it to a 6 out of 10. Gresh, again, wanted to leave as a free agent. Got 21 as compo, which is good. But you've stuffed it up with this Billings one. Why are you paying money for a guy who was contracted, then accepting a shit pick in a future third? You saw a lot of fringe players like Chol and a lot of other players get Kaziski and guys like that get picks in the future second rounds. Soldo, Zerk-Thatcher, Radigalia. Like, Billings is better than basically all of them. If he's not better, he's definitely on par with them. So it should have been a future second or something in the 20s or 30 range. Not a future third, which could be in the 50s. Absolute pathetic, that last trade. disgraceful. 6 out of 10, though. The rest of it was pretty good. Coffee 1 air, got around 40 for that. Gave 35. You got Dow part of it, so I'll be content on that one. And the Liam Henry run, we robbed Freo there. The future second, they wanted to pick 12. Wasn't happening. Right onto the Saints for the rest of the trades, bar the Jack Billings scenario and paying portion of the contract when he was contracted, and you got nothing good in return for him through a pick in a future third, which could be in the 50s, and it's Melbourne's too. It's unbelievable. The Swans, they were really good. They brought in Brodie Grundy and Taylor Adams as their main two, but then James Jordan and Joel Hamling as free agents. They lost Dylan Stevens, not a huge loss, and they go in the picks 12, 45, 55, and 91. They picked up a future first, the North Melbourne's end of first round that they received from the AFL's assistance package. They gave up their future second for Brodie Grundy. They were heading to the 2024 one with 2 first-round picks their own, and North Melbourne's one, as well as picks in the thirds and fourths rounds. For the Swans, I'm going to give them a 10 out of 10 as well. They dominated. Brodie Grundy and Taylor Adams are 2 huge in, some experience in the midfield. They actually get a proper ruckman now. Obviously, with Tom Higgins retiring, they get a proper ruckman. They didn't have anyone else. So, great acquisition. Got Taylor Adams for basically a pick in the 30s, which is a steal. James Jordan is a free agent, can be a handy wingman. Joel Hamling is a key position defensive depth option. They've done real well there. Dylan Stevens not a huge loss. So, and they hardly played him in the last 2 years. So, 10 out of 10 for me for the Swans, and they got pick 12, so it was their first pick. Move on to the Eagles. They brought in Tyler Brockman and Matthew Flynn. They lost nothing. Have picks 1, 23, 37, 58, and 81. The real question is, will they trade pick 1 or will they take Harley Reid? There's still some work to be done for the Eagles. They've kept their future picks. They're a watch this space with pick 1. They still may trade it out. But the trade bid, I'm giving them a 5 out of 10. Nothing major came in, but they didn't lose anything. So I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10. And finally, the Western Bulldogs. They brought in James Harms and Nick Coffield, lost Jordan Sweet. They had in this year's drafts for picks 5, 48, 50, 52, 53, 56, 69, 72, 75, and 90. The Dogs sent their future first to the Gold Coast, helping them gain pick 5 this year. They traded out a future third for James Harms, and then part of their future fourth in the 4-club mega deal, Leonard Coffield. They received a future third back from the Suns, but the Dogs' pick swaps were centered around the curing points for Jordan Croft, which is exactly right. So that's why they got all those picks in the 50 to 72, 75 range. So 48 to 75, they got 4, 7, 8 picks. It helps them get points for Jordan Croft. So for me, they did probably a 6 out of 10 because they got the picks and they got pick 5. So they'll be able to take a player at pick 5, whether it's Nick Watson, Dersmick, McKercher, Riley Sanders, whoever. And then when the bid comes to Jordan Croft, those points they'll have enough points. So they get 2 Top Gun picks. So they did really well. So 6 out of 10 for me for the Bulldogs. So for me, Sydney Hawthorn did the best. Thank you for watching this video. We'll have more draft content and interviews with AFL, AFLW players coming up. So look forward to that. Thank you for watching during this trade period. There'll be more draft content to come and many more videos, AFLW podcasts, etc. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you, and go Saints.